Thank you. Bear with me. I am a life ambassador for CellQuicken. I'm not here to say I know it all. It hasn't been my total focus for the last couple of years, but what I am going to share with you is what has really worked for me, where my story started, and why I'm now so passionate about this. Started back in May. May seems to be quite a pertinent month in people's lives. May 2016, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. In fact, I found it myself. But what was so interesting is I hadn't even had the biopsy yet, and the vultures swooped in. It was amazing. They frightened me. They told me, well, which oncologist do you want? I said, what's an oncologist? And they said, which surgeon? I said, I don't know. I've been in hospital once in my life to have a baby. And they said, well, we need to get this out. And I said, okie dokie. You know, the brain is an incredible thing. It just froze. And I knew about the amygdala. I knew about the limbic system because I'd been in education. But I didn't realize to what extent my brain was going to freeze. I lost control completely. I allowed them to put me in hospital within 5 days, cut half my breast off for the sake of a small lump. I thought that was normal. When I got home, my darling husband said to me, get into bed, keep quiet, I'm going to shut the door and bring you a laptop. And I was bemoaning my fate. I thought, well, the next step is surely chemotherapy. And I thought, what does that bring? Okay, it brings baldness. Right, I'd accepted that. I started Googling real hair wigs, thinking that's what I'm going to need. And I came across a site here in Johannesburg, as a matter of fact. And I thought, yeah, they'll look pretty good in that. And it took me in a hyperlink on the actual site to the causes of baldness. And that hyperlink took me to a site called The Truth About Cancer. It was being flighted by Ty and Charlene Bollinger. I don't know if you saw the recent one last week. It's absolutely amazing, the Asian story. And I thought, but what the heck is this all about? Well, while I was learning at a fast rate, I went into every blog I could find. I bought every book I could find, journals and what have you, and on a huge learning curve. Towards the end of that, I knew that I had to face the oncology center, and I'd already decided I'm not going to do this thing. But my family were adamant. They said, Ma, the doctors trained for many years. They know what they're doing. You need to go. My husband supported me. Interestingly enough, it was almost as though I had contracted leprosy because my family and friends steered clear of me. I thought, this is very interesting. Anyway, I went to the oncology center just to appease the family. I'd already made my mind up. As I walked in, with my gut saying, just keep calm, just say no, don't allow them to get you to do what you don't want to do again. I can tell you, folk, I walked up the stairs into the oncology center. On the right-hand side was a Coke vending machine. I thought, yeesh. You know, I've only had 2 weeks experience in this field, but wow. There were, forgive this expression, but literally people who looked like cadavers lying around, and the so-called nursing staff in this oncology center were feeding them Coke through a straw. Chemo in one arm and Coke down their throat. There were also sugary donuts being fed to the patients, and I could not believe it. I thought this has got to be a Little House of Horrors. By the time I saw the oncologist, I sat looking very woos. And for half an hour, she frightened me further about, you know, she brought out this big chart about the cancer that creeps. And my gut again said, stop it, don't listen to her. And after about half an hour, I said, not doing your chemo, not doing your radiation. And she said, oh, there you go, my bucks. She said, well, in that case, let me give you letrozole. I said, what's that? She said, it's a new drug, a new chemo drug. I said, so now in my mind, I'm thinking, you now want me to be a guinea pig? No. Watch my face. No. She said, well, I'll give you a little bit on it. Here's a little page. And she gave me a scratched page. And she said, go and have a look at what it is. I said, you bet I will be doing just that. When I got home, I Googled it. I asked Dr. Google, so what do people think of this letrozole? The first site I went to had 62 complaints about it, about the side effects and how you feel. And I thought, you know what? Not for me. So I told them. My doctor had been overseas in some pharmaceutically sponsored seminar in the USA. When I told him, he said to me, oh, so I suppose you're going the snake oil route. I said, yes. And I'm slithering out of here and you'll never see me again. That was 3 years ago. But folk, I can tell you, I didn't know what to do. Because there were all the medical professions, none of them were giving me any sensible answers. And I didn't know what to do. My brain had frozen. I knew that I could go the nutrition route because of what I've learned. And I did at that stage have a master's in nutrition, but my goodness, what they taught us in 1970 was really turned on its head. And wherever I asked, not one of them talked about lifestyle changes or how cancer doesn't have to be a death sentence, etc., etc. I bought all the books. I read everything in the next few months. Quite a lot of it was controversial, and there was some of the information that really contradicted itself. And I soon learned that in researching this, there's a lot of it depends on who wrote it and who's sponsoring the research. So I learned to be very discerning in whether I believed it or not. I also learned about the fact that they're not serious about finding the cure for cancer. And I wondered why I was so irritated when the lady came around with the pink ribbons as I came out of surgery, trying to sell me bags with pink ribbons on them, and I told her to go away. Anyway, I learned a lot about the cancer-causing foods and which ones I should avoid. I didn't know this. Never had focused on it. I thought, well, I'm not going to eat these GMO foods. I started growing my own. I had my own Facebook page. I started bragging about the stuff that I was growing, the tomatoes, which were nice and big and fat and rosy, and my spinach, and I juiced, and I got lots of likes, and I thought, okay, interesting. I learned about lots of little things and big things, interesting things, which I hadn't really known about in the past. To go through them, but this is what happened. I learned about wonderful things like essential oils and the beauty of turmeric and vitamin D3 and so forth, and all the other vitamins. I didn't know there were 17 vitamin Bs. I thought there were only 6. I also learned that the food pyramid, as we knew it, had been turned completely upside down. What we were taught in the 70s, 80s, and what I taught during my lifetime of facilitation was 2/3 of your plate is carbohydrate. Remember, sugar gives you energy. Don't eat butter, eat margarine. You know that story. Don't use anything but plant-based oils. You learned that story too. I trust when you get back, you're going to chuck out all that margarine and all those plant oils. They are so bad for you. Go back to the real McCoy. Butter, coconut oil, olive oil. Then, one of my candidates, who I was a facilitator at the time, he said to me, what are you doing, when he saw me drinking green juice when they were having the cool drinks at halftime, during the break. And I said, man, Jiva, this little thing, you know, I don't quite know what to do with it, so I'm juicing and I'm trying to keep healthy. He said, no, there's a good doctor down the road, go and see him. He was an Indian doctor, coming from Durban, there are quite a few. I said, what's so special about him? He said, he's Ayurvedic. I walked in, and I met with kindness. He took my reports, he put them upside down on the desk, and he picked up my pulse, because they do it through the chakras, etc. And he said, your system is shot to ribbons. Your immune system is in such a poor condition. Your liver is barely functioning. You shouldn't even be alive, from what I can sense. And he said, you're far too fat. I weighed 92 kgs. I used to eat 2 packets of sweets a night as I settled down. Loved my joya, licorice flavor. I started shedding because he put me onto good nutrients, and I lost quite a lot of weight. I never felt better than when I started eating properly and taking in good nutrition. So I thought, okay, there's something here. But something was still worrying me. I thought there's got to be something else. Now I'm getting better in terms of my health, but what about other healing and preventative measures? What else? And how am I going to measure and really know whether I am okay or not? I thought, I'm not going back to the hospital. I call them germ farms. I'm not going there. And the answer came in an email. I was about to go across to Sweden to visit my daughter and her family. They live in Sweden. And this email popped into my inbox. And something made me respond to it. I said to the guy, hey, who are you? Where are you from? Are you from the USA? And he said, no, I'm originally from Grahamstown, but I'm working in Pretoria. I thought, okay, that's interesting. He turned out to be Michael Plumstead. And I said to him, what is this CellQuicken that you're talking about? And he mentioned it briefly to me. And I said, listen, I don't have too much time now. I'm going across to Sweden for 6 weeks, but I'll see you there after. While I was away, I did my research because I'm a skeptic. And when I got back, whoop, up came the email again. And I said to him, okay, you're persistent, aren't you? And I said, but I like what I've been reading about this frequency healing. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm coming up to Durbs. I've got a little bit of work in the middle of Joburg. If you can brave that, meet with me. I thought it would be half an hour. Those of you who are ambassadors know it's never half an hour. 3 hours later, I had really made up my mind. Within a week or two, I had my CellQuicken, and I started the treatments. That was in October 2017. By December, I was cancer-free. Absolutely amazing. But not only that, people say to me, but how do you know? I've been for the tests, and then I thought, well, let me just go and get some more stuff done. I went for a thermogram. Those of you who do mammograms, please don't do them. They are downright dangerous. Don't do it. Thermograms are the way to go if you want to see if there's anything happening there. My thermogram showed that I was absolutely clear. You can see, there it is, done on the 1st of March 2018.